rod that's actually inside of your sound hole here. It's called a truss rod. So it can be adjusted. It's not that big of a deal at all. The other thing that you want to check on your guitar is the bridge. Your bridge is this right here. Remember, we talked about that. You want to make sure there's no gaps between it and the soundboard. There should be no gaps. If there is gaps, that means it's pulling up, and that's not good news. You also want to have adjusted, and this is part of a setup job, is your action. What action is the distance of the strings from the fretboard. The higher this is, the wider that action is, the more difficult that guitar is going to be able to play. The closer that is to these frets, the easier it's going to be able to play. If your guitar is hard and difficult to finger and to get those notes down without buzzing, have your action checked. That's probably one of the best things you could do. How should you take care of your guitar? Well, just for a second, let's talk about that. You don't want to get your guitar too hot. You don't want to get your guitar too cold. Your guitar really is just wood and glue. And so if you get this thing too hot, it starts warping and coming undone. I can put a heat lamp on this bridge, and in about 5 minutes it peels right up. So it really is just wood and glue. So you just want to make sure you don't do stupid things like take your guitar in the car in the mall. It's in the middle of summertime. That temperature inside your car is probably going to get about 150 degrees at least, and that's well enough to do pretty serious damage to your guitar. So you just want to be real careful with that. It can be hot, but not really hot. Also, you don't want to get your guitar super cold or change temperature really fast. It's in the middle of the winter, your guitar's been out in the car, it's well below freezing, you bring it in, whip it out, you're going to practice like I said you should, that's great, but you set your guitar next to a heater vent. That would be bad. Your guitar, ever so slightly, expands and contracts, and it would crack the finish on top of your guitar. It won't affect how it's going to sound, but it's not going to look very pretty from then on, and once you crack your finish, there's no going back. It's like cracking a windshield on a car. Last thing, you want to be careful not to set anything on top of your guitar. Even when you put it in the case, you don't want to put your music on top of your guitar or put any weight on it down this way. There's just not any bracing that way, and it could crack. Those are just some tips on caring for your instrument and knowing what to look for and some things you should buy at the very beginning. All right, here's your assignment for this session. We've covered a lot of ground, but here's what you need to do in order to move on for the next session. Do all of the finger exercises in your book on all of the strings to toughen up your fingers and also to build motor skill development and control. Second thing you need to do, memorize the names of your strings. Third thing you need to do, practice that C and G7th chord and the exercises that are with it. Each note should sound out clearly, and try not to hesitate when you're changing chords. If you do all of these things and practice them faithfully over the next coming days, you will be ready for the next level. And I'm going to help you practice when we get to the workshop time. I'll see you there. Okay, welcome to the guitar workshop time. This is the portion where we get to practice together. First thing we do before we practice, we're going to do a little hand stretching exercise. So I want you to get your hands, put them fingertip to fingertip, start pressing down. We're stretching out these muscles. You're not trying to break your fingers now. You're just trying to stretch them down. Last thing to come down is your palm. Then your palm comes up. Stretch these out here. Can you feel the difference? Can you feel those muscles stretching out in there? That's a good way to get your hands warm before we get ready to play. Now let's do these finger exercises that we talked about on your page. We're going to start out with the first finger exercise, number 1. Remember, we're going down, up with our hand, right hand, and then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1 with our left hand. We will do it slowly at first, and then we'll play it one time a little bit faster. Here we go. Down, up with our pick. Ready, go. First finger. Second finger. Third finger. Fourth finger. Back to third. Second. First. Let's do that again. Go back up to second. Second. There you go. Third.